Well, with Connor Brown going to free agency this year, there's a lot of teams that are curious on what he is thinking after only playing 4 games last year due to injury. Connor Brown could be a really good pickup for a team, especially one that has been in conversation with Connor Brown's name for about 3 years now. That he could be going there, and Elliott Freeman did bring up some news on the 32 Thoughts. But before we get started, if you like anything NHL, MLB, news, rumors, trades, whatever the insides are talking about, we'll break it down here on the channel. Injuries, whatever it is, we got it here covered. Just make sure you hit that subscribe button, as we are only 591 away from our elusive 1,000 goal that we are trying to do. Thank you guys so much for all the support. Now let's get to this. Elliott Freeman on 32 Thoughts says, there's a lot of teams curious about what Connor Brown is thinking in terms of free agency and whether or not he's guaranteed to go to the Edmonton Oilers. And that's been the team that's been kind of circling around for, like I said, 2-3 years with Connor Brown's name, when he was with Toronto, when he was with Ottawa, when Ottawa was known to be shipping him out somewhere. I believe it was a season and a half ago. Edmonton was linked to Connor Brown. Now, Freeman goes, I think there is a lot of teams out there curious about what Connor Brown is thinking and where he's going. So, Connor Brown has his own right to think where he's going, but we were kind of in the similar situation last year with the Edmonton Oilers, where Jack Campbell, before the free agency even started, knew that he was going to Edmonton. Like, there was already, everyone had Jack Campbell going to Edmonton, no tomorrow. Like, it was all said and done before free agency even started. The insiders were on top of it. A lot of YouTubers like Dolany TV was on top of it. And just with Elliott Freeman bringing this up, it's kind of bringing back for Oilers fans where, okay, usually when Elliott Freeman says something, he's pretty spot on with what he says most of the time. Yes, there's some shenanigans when it comes to the top players, but when it comes to Connor Brown, who could be realistically a second option for the Edmonton Oilers on that second line, third line guaranteed, who can at least put points up and doesn't take many penalties, Connor Brown to the Edmonton Oilers makes a lot of sense. And it could be that same situation with Jack Campbell, where Connor Brown already knows he wants to go to Edmonton. The Oilers might already know that Connor Brown wants to go to Edmonton. Does the injury kind of play an effect in how much he makes? Sure. But I've seen comments on this already, and I agree. $2 million for this type of player could go a long way for the Edmonton Oilers. I would do it on a 2-year contract or so, if it was me, to see what Connor Brown can do. Worst case scenario, he starts the season on LTIR. You got $2 million in cap space you can use. He comes back, yeah, you figure that stuff out when that happens. That's what Ken Holland seems to like to do when it comes to the Edmonton Oilers, is figure stuff out on that day, when he could have figured it out a week before. But you know what I mean. Connor Brown is a solid player and could be a good fit for the Edmonton Oilers. Like I said, he only played 4 games last year. He was a -3 in those games. For his career, he's played 448 games, 90 goals, 126 assists for 216 points in 448 games. So just under a half a point per game player. And that's kind of where the salary cap is now for players like Connor Brown, who is a right wing, which the Oilers desperately need, and is 6', 181. He's only 29 years old. So he does have, say on a 2-year deal, he'd be 31, 32, depending when his birthday is, to have this done. Now, for his career, he's only a -11, and I was looking at his stats. -11 in 448 games. That's pretty good. He's only taken 90 penalty minutes in those games. So if you break it down to, he never fought. We know there's some fighting majors probably in that. You say he never fought. That's 45 penalties. So in 448 games, 45 penalties, he's only taken one every, 10 games, give or take, that aren't fighting. The guy does have 8 power play goals in his career, 30 power play points. He does have 8 shorthanded goals and 17 shorthanded points. So he could do a lot on the penalty kill for this Edmonton Oilers team. So when teams are curious, Elliott Freeman's right. Connor Brown has been linked to the Edmonton Oilers for some time now. And that could be a name that could be wearing an Oilers jersey at the start of next season. So we'll see where that goes. Overall, pretty decent player. He spent 3 years in Ottawa, 4 in Toronto. His best years were in Ottawa. 43 points in 71 games, 35 in 56, and 39 in 64 in the 21-22 season for Ottawa. So he has the scoring touch, and being, playing on a third line, second line with Leon Draisaitl there, and possibly, who knows, Zach Hyman, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, whoever they decide to put with Leon Draisaitl, Connor Brown could be a contramental player for the Edmonton Oilers. So that's one thing I'd like to see, is where this goes with Freeman dropping that, where a lot of teams want Connor Brown, but if Connor Brown's already made up his mind that he wants to go to the Edmonton Oilers and play with arguably the two best players in the world right now, that's up to Connor Brown and whatnot. So we'll keep a close eye on this. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll catch you on the next one.